Welcome back to State of Decay 2. At the end of my last session, a couple of juggernauts showed up, which has made me a little bit unhappy. They haven't noticed me personally yet. They are getting shot at an awful lot, though. I'm not sure what I want to do about this exactly. I could probably just run away and let my shooters on the roof deal with them. I am kind of interested in outfitting this character so that she's ready to take on some plague hearts, because we ran ourselves out of missions. Oh, looks like they noticed me. Okay, so I've got a decent weapon. I could grab some of these guys. All right, I've got some options here. Oh man, my people are... Oh, they're dealing with him up close. No, guys. No. Oh, they took him down. Well done, guys. Yes. So yeah, that watchtower up above is really effective. They're just constantly shooting bullets into this guy's head. So that by the time he gets in here with us, he's buttered up nice and good. Wow, yeah, they're going nuts on him. Nicely done, team. Okay, yes, plague samples 3. Nice. Okay, cool. Well, maybe a little bit. Oh, now. Oh, no. Oh, the Juggernaut gets the last laugh. He's blocking our door. Let's make sure I got a good shot of that. Roadblocks in plague territory. That's what this video is called. Okay. Well, that's making me feel extra confident. Not that I'm capable of doing anything, but at least that my people are. Okay, so there's now the Mazzara farm. I might be able to claim it earlier than Squalona's. Squalona's has got a lot of small slots, only one large outdoor slot. This one's got 2 large slots. So, I mean, that's a benefit, right? I'm just trying to think, like, is there a particular place where I want to take out a plague heart that would be really valuable? Rural Police Station also has large outdoor slots. And this place has just got garbage around it. Ooh, but it's got an artillery outpost. I've got a spare outpost slot. That might actually be kind of fun to have. You know what? Let's head up that way. Now, this might just be a hit and run. Like, I might not be able to do enough damage to this plague heart to really be satisfying, but... Oh, yay, survivor activity. Okay, so one thing we are definitely doing right now is taking tons of missions. Bloater alert. Because we want to get enough influence to claim a new base. And or to upgrade one of our resource outposts. So, where did my character see a bloater? Aha. Okay. Oh, but they're right on the way. Okay, so yeah, let's hit up this person again over at these storage sites, which apparently are just mission central. Okay, so these guys, worth it. Oh, I forgot I even had a bounty like that. I should start paying more attention to my bounties. Screamers killed with heavy weapons. I should have brought a heavy weapon. Ferals killed with revolvers. I should have brought a revolver. I don't even have a sidearm at all. Hey there, buddy.
Hey, I found a few things while I was out.
Sure. Let's bring this guy with us. Okay.
I'll be right behind you.
I did just collect a bunch of parts, though. Before we complete this mission, let's run back and let's repair this vehicle. And let's also equip ourselves a little better. to deal with some of these bounties. Like, I know one of my characters is carrying a revolver around. I feel like I might be able to find them. Freaking Juggernaut. Was it you, Brian? Not Brian. Anybody up here? Usually somebody up here.
Hey
Yeah.
there. We could really use some help from you folks.
Ooh. Somebody's got a freak for me to fight. Maybe a feral. That could be valuable.
Working hard or hardly working?
Okay, Preacher doesn't have it. What about Herb? Nope, he's got something, but not that. Who was it? I think it might have been one of my army guys.
Destroying plague hearts is a dirty job. But what other choice do we have?
Was it you? I don't think it was Roberts. Nope, not Roberts. What about this guy? Might be Richie. Yeah, it's Richie. All right, so we don't have a lot of bullets for this gun. But if I can sneak up on a feral, I could probably take it out with one shot. Probably take it out with one shot. And, oh, toolkit. That was the other thing I was here for. Can I even build one? Do I have enough supplies? Yep. Okay, let's go grab a toolkit. Right. Oh, can I climb this? Okay, apparently he can climb this. And I can't climb this. Okay, fine. Fine, we'll go the long way. So I think folks in the chat have been talking about the potential for like building a more interesting array of defenses at your base. You know, the possibility of like, you know, placing things like watchtowers or you know, building up specific walls or specific entrances, things like that. And yeah, I actually, you know, that is something that we know people would want. I mean,
But I think we stretched
whoa.
the limits of this place.
People are talking to me.
Start looking for a bigger base.
I know, I want a bigger base too.
It's a solid idea.
What am I doing? Oh yeah, that's right. I was looking for a toolkit that I made. That's what it was. Anyway, yeah. So trying to retrofit that into the game now would be really hard. We built all of these bases with the assumption that they were going to be bespoke. You know, that like each one of them was built and designed sort of its own special way, and so they don't have the kinds of like commonalities that you would need from a sort of a modular base building system. Each one is kind of solving its watchtower problems and its wall problems and its gate problems in different ways. And it wouldn't be easy to just like take because a system for upgrading your own defenses would have to necessarily have a lot of sort of like common elements and things like that. And trying to retrofit that onto as bespoke a system as what we have right now would be really difficult. But again, as I mentioned like on the previous video, like we have recognized that there are a lot of people in our audience who would love to have more customization of the game in general. And so that is sort of, it's something that we're bearing in mind as we're approaching, you know, the problem in the future. Again, cannot make any promises about specific features in future iterations of the game. But
And we're here.
I can say that you know, we definitely have heard you and we know that this is what you want. Whether we can do anything about it soon or not.
It shouldn't be too hard to search this place, right?
Sure, man. Whatever you say. Man, my character just wreaked havoc on these zombies. So she's so great with this weapon. But she still does the really slow kill on the zombies. When she does an execution, which is too bad. Kimsa Bimsa says that they've got an idea for our next game after State of Decay 3.
Look what I found.
Oh, hell yeah.
Hey, Asfa. Oh, wait a minute, wait a minute. Oh, just a second, Asphalt. Let me look this gun over and make sure that everything's okay. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. It's totally good. I've totally checked it. It works now.
Thanks.
There you go.
Stepping up like that deserves a reward. Here you go.
Where? Did he give it to me in my inventory? Or did he drop it where he was before? Where's the prize? Oh, there. Oh, good. A sack of oatmeal. Yes. Man, somebody printed out a whole bunch of oatmeal comics and put them in a rucksack. Oh, it's probably really heavy, but that's great. I miss the internet. Screamers killed with heavy weapons. Okay. Oh, gosh. Guess the screamers saw me. Let's head back home. Now, my character is specialized in striking, so normally I would just keep her with the current blunt weapon that she's got. But I'm in the middle of chasing a bounty about killing screamers with heavy weapons. And I need a heavy weapon. And actually, she's also got Powerhouse, actually, come to think of it. So she's an expert in both regular blunt weapons and heavy weapons. So this is actually a good move. So let's take her back where we were. Hopefully not hitting any bloaters along the way. Oh, so Kimsa Bimsa suggests that the game they would love to see is a game where you're actually in charge of the zombie horde taking over the world. Like if you were, some intelligence, like say if the Plague Hearts had some kind of real intelligence and you were them and you were, oh my gosh.
I should take that screamer out from a distance.
Except I've got a bounty not to, so I won't. Hello.
Can't let that one up.
All right, I don't have a ton of bullets. So my next destination, I was thinking of taking this place out. There's also this feral down here, though. Ooh. Okay, here's what we're going to do. We're not going to worry about the plague heart quite yet. We're going to go try to sneak up on that feral, shoot it with a revolver, and then we're going to go after that other mission, the off-roaders. Yeah! Honestly, those are some of my favorite moments in State of Decay, when you, are driving down the road and then suddenly you have to dodge a bunch of zombies. Okay, so Raneth Court is actually making some recommendations to Kimsa Bimsa for games that actually do involve playing as the zombie horde. It's particularly one called Infectinator, is one that he's found interesting. So that's cool. If you're into that kind of stuff, definitely look for it. So it's interesting, sort of thinking about what kind of game does Undead Labs make, right? When you're thinking about what games we should make in the future. Yes. We got to figure out, well, what kind of games do we make in the present? What's special about our games? What do we do that other studios don't do? Because whatever that is, that should probably be an element of the games we make in the future. There should be some kind of expertise that we're developing that we can carry on from one game to the next. I mean, obviously, people are still enthusiastic about the State of Decay franchise, and so our first priority should be to support that audience. And I think that makes a lot of sense. Oh, it looks like... Huh. Whatever that other person was doing. I don't want to do Prepper Ant. Okay, so let's... I thought I saw a mission around here, but I guess it's gone. So we'll go back and take out that plague heart we were interested in taking out. Or at least do some damage to it. I don't know if we're really going to take it out. But yeah, that's sort of worth thinking about. I'm curious if anybody in the chat has got ideas for what you think of as being Undead Labs' hallmark. What is it that makes us a unique developer where, like, if you heard that we were
Making my
making,
eyes burn. Must be a plague heart nearby.
if you heard a news story that we were making some brand new game that was a different IP, that was getting away from State of Decay to do something else, which, you know, definitely not announcing that we're doing. We're very focused on State of Decay right now. But if we were to do that, what would you expect to be the features of that game? Like, what kind of game would you expect it to be? What aspects of State of Decay 3 would you expect to see in our future games? And what would you expect to be just flexible? You know, should like all of our games have zombies in them, for instance, or is that just a feature of State of Decay 2, and really our games should do something else? Okay, usually I try to clear out a bunch of nearby zombies when I'm taking out a plague heart, but this doesn't look like it has those.
Oh, this place is just awful.
Okay, I'm gonna drop this
And that's all I have.
mine right there. Oh, wait, there's a bunch of zombies already in here. Oh, crap, that was my revolver that I used for ferals. Dang it. All right, let's do this some more. Get away. Okay. Did somebody set off my bomb?
I have to slow down.
Yeah, somebody did set off my mine. That's awesome.
Not much you can do to fix it.
Yeah, so one problem I think we have with our heavy weapons in particular is the fact that it's really easy to queue up about one more attack than you intended to queue up.
I need to slow down.
Oh, get off me!
More of that scene.
Okay, let's set them on fire. How did so many survive that? Okay, hold on.
Sick of arguing over petty crap. It's past the grid.
Okay, crap, I'm stuck in a place with my own... Okay, let's... Now, if I was smart,
On the verge of getting really sick.
I would probably get out of here right now because she's on the verge of getting really sick. But I'm not smart. I'm still
Exhausted.
thinking
I need to
it's a good
rest.
idea to try to hit that with another grenade.
That really hurt it.
Okay. Nicely done. Turns out that was a good move. Got some food,
I'm carrying a bit much right
machine
now.
pistol, some nice heals, new heavy weapon, plague samples, new backpack. Yep, I'm pretty happy with our loot here. Okay. So now that I've finished that, let's have a look at the results of my question to the chat here. In fact, yeah, because I really want to pay attention to it, let me quickly pause the game and just go to straight camera mode. Okay, let's see here. Let me scroll back up. Let's see here. Okay, so the tank says you talk to your audience. That's special. Well, okay, thank you. I appreciate that. And that is something we do intend to continue to do as a studio, regardless of what we're making, is always communicate with our audience. So awesome. I'm glad that you appreciate that. That's cool. Surreal Diagonal says, I'd love to see a game with scavenging / community building elements with a sci-fi theme. That's interesting to hear. Okay, so it sounds like what you're saying is that it's the community building and scavenging parts of our game that sort of stand out to you as being the thing that you expect Undead Labs to do well, and you'd love to see us try that in other settings. But I think I saw somebody else suggested something like that too. Somebody said a medieval setting would be interesting too. Who said that? Oh yeah, so Surreal Diagonal suggested sci-fi or Western might be interesting settings for this type of game. I could swear I'll find it. Oh yeah, Kimsa Bimsa suggested a medieval setting. So we've got sci-fi, Western, and medieval settings as being suggestions from you folks about other things you'd like to see us to do. But so it sounds like what you would love to see is a similar type of gameplay to State of Decay, where you're in, say, a threatening world where you got to survive by your wits, whether it's your combat ability or your ability to sort of like scavenge cleverly, strategize, build a base and an infrastructure, but it's about that kind of survival thing. It's not about, because I think a lot of studios make games that are about sort of just the immediate threat to your life, just getting into combat and being, afraid moment to moment. But that our game is much more about sort of the long term. How do you survive for years in an apocalypse? And how do you build something to last? And so, so it sounds like you all sort of, that's what I would have said too, was sort of our hallmark. But I wanted to hear what you guys said. It sounds like you all sort of are hitting on the same thing. So it's good that we're sort of united about this. That my estimation of what our studio specializes in is really similar to what you all say. If we were really mismatched about that, then I would feel like, oh no, maybe we're getting something wrong. Let's see here. So the Tank suggested a zombie battle royale. So I've thought about that too. I know that there are games that have done something like this before, like for Halloween events or something. But I would love to try a battle royale sometime where when you get killed, instead of just being like, okay, well, you're done, go find a new server. If instead you would come back as one of the villains, like you've been reanimated or something like that, and you're still fighting and you're still trying to take down the leader, and that you could actually get rewarded not just for your performance as the person, like as the last person standing, the one who actually wins by surviving the longest, but you could also get some other kind of reward or some other kind of props for being one of the villains that took them down, or that took down the second runner-up or the third runner-up. Like that could be a really interesting game. So the Tank says post-apocalyptic games seem to be our forte. So I think it's not necessarily because it's post-apocalyptic. I think it's because it's a world where you have to live by your wits, where there's no infrastructure. Now, post-apocalypse is one way to get there. Western is another example, though, of a scenario where, like, it's a world that where your people are arriving and you haven't built the infrastructure yet that it takes. And so people are sort of forced to sort of live on their own and make their own rules because there isn't already sort of a society to lean on, that at least not one that's friendly to them. Western can get a little bit problematic when it comes to sort of delving into the details of what we're talking about, but like a fantastical Western setting that doesn't necessarily draw directly on history might actually be kind of an interesting type place to mess around. Yeah, so McGurk points out that Undead Labs being named Undead Labs, it does sort of imply that we'll make zombie games for the rest of our lives. And that's actually something we've regretted before. We're like, okay, it was great when we were trying to, I say we, this was happening before I was hired. It's great that while we were trying to sort of establish our identity as this hot new developer who's trying to make this an ambitious zombie game, it helped to sort of have a unified theme there. But now that we're sort of like, State of Decay is established, and people are wondering what we would do next, being named Undead Labs doesn't make that any easier, because it does sort of bind us to the first IP that we were tied to. Yeah, so Asgard SGC points out that having an open world sandbox is really important to the identity of an Undead Labs game. And I think you're right. Yeah, because like there are definitely ways, to some degree, people think of survival games as being intrinsically open world, but there are different ways you could handle open worlds, and sort of the sheer openness of our world, the fact that there's no places that are cut off to you. You can kind of go anywhere you want. Now, some of the places are more dangerous than others, but you can go anywhere you want, and the whole point is freedom. I think that there is something to that does sort of play into our identity as a developer. Oh, so Scott Lannon suggests that the permadeath feature is really important, and hopes that it stays through, as we someday do work on other IPs. But a deeper character system to make you care more about your character or community would be... Yeah, so that's a thing that I would love, like, right now, continuing to support State of Decay 2, I constantly think of that as a way that I would love to improve our game, and finding the right way to do it. I mean, that's like a hard nut to crack, right? There's a lot of games that do procedurally generated characters and stuff like that try to make you care about them, and most of us don't do very well. It's still an envelope that needs to be pushed. But I would love to spend time trying to push it. We've got ideas for what we could do. We've got some other priorities that are ahead of them right now, But I would love to do that. And if we did, move on to make some other IP or whatever, or if whatever. I'll be looking for opportunities to try to push that envelope further, because I agree it's a worthwhile thing that we're well positioned to try to do. Cloudcraft says, I would expect the narrative and at least the characters to be driven by the same systems and integrated with the mechanics, and for the content to have some grounding in real-world hobbies or subjects people are enthusiastic about. So Cloudcraft hit on something very important too. One of the reasons that I think State of Decay has succeeded so far is because there was already a pent-up desire for the game before we ever made it. So some games, somebody will make it a really original, weird game that no one ever thought they wanted, but then when they discover it, they're like, ooh, this is interesting, and it sort of just creates an entirely new space for people to play it. And it's really admirable when people do that, and it's impressive, but it's also it's pretty risky, because you don't know if people are going to glom onto this new crazy idea you have. I think State of Decay succeeded in part because that wasn't what they did. They instead found a niche that was empty. They found a place where there were a lot of, people wanted to play zombie games, and they played a lot of zombie games, but the real fantasy of the zombie apocalypse isn't just fighting the zombies. It's not just the horror of the zombies. It's the question of how am I going to live? And there weren't enough games out there, especially games where you actually played, from a sort of immersive, like over-the-shoulder third-person perspective and played through the actual action of fighting the zombies. There weren't a lot of games out there that were also trying to do the simulation of life in the apocalypse. And I think that's kind of what made State of Decay stand out, was the fact that it was doing the whole package. Despite the fact that it was actually a fairly low-budget game made with a very small team, it was hitting sort of a zone, a niche that people wanted a game in, but that nobody was providing yet. And that's really important too. So I think when I think about the future IPs that I'd love to develop sometime in the future, and again, we're talking about the far future. I'm not announcing that we're starting any process or anything right now. We're not. We're very, very focused on State of Decay right now. But yeah, I just, I think about that. I'm like, is there another pent up desire for a game that simulates living in a certain setting? And is that something that we could take on? That's the thought process that I often follow. Cog says they do expect about 3,000 more guns than we currently supply. That might be a tall order. Though actually, I mean, providing lots and lots of guns is definitely a thing we've established as part of our identity as a developer. Okay, yeah, so I'm getting through some of the areas, some of the comments that I looked ahead to see. Yeah, so people agreeing that community building is definitely a huge part of it. Having these sort of procedurally generated characters that you have to deal with, like, who's this guy? Oh, he's got some good stuff, but he's also got some problems. So what am I going to do about that? I feel like we don't lean nearly hard enough into making that interesting. And I would love to see, future games develop that further. And again, like, I also feel like, the way that we handle our missions, I think we can handle them in a much better way that feels like it supports that community management aspect of the game, rather than each of the game feeling like it's a community game, but the missions acting like you're just doing one thing at a time, with one character at a time. That feels a little bit off. So I think we're not quite aligned with ourselves right now with the way that our mission system works. Oh, yeah, so the Tank points out that I had mentioned in the past that I would love to do some kind of, like, desert survival game inspired by Dune at some point. So, yeah, I would absolutely love to do something that's a game where you're basically playing as a Fremen, try to live in a world where water is really, really hard to come by, and everything you do is fueled by, your own water, and you're trying to, like, replenish it all the time, and you're, like, getting better and better, like, equipment to try to preserve your water. I could see something like that being really fun and interesting. Kind of like almost the opposite of Subnautica. But I don't know. Maybe the Subnautica developers are already working on something like that, and it's out of my space. They do have a still suit in their latest game, so. Yeah, OG Jawa Foz says Sims 5 Zombie Edition. Yeah, no, there are a lot of people who'd like to think of our game as playing Sims in the zombie apocalypse, and I think that we could lean harder into a lot of the features that would make that better. Yeah, Surreal Diagonal asks, how big was the original State of Decay team? So I joined the State of Decay team right, like 2 weeks after the first game came out, and I think I was like the 24th or 25th employee of the company. So yeah, it took about so by the time they shipped, there were about 24 people working at the company. They had just started working on another IP that actually ended up not going anywhere, and so some of the people that were there were hired to handle that new IP. So I think that the original team that actually built State of Decay 1 might have been a little smaller than that. But yeah, it's around that zone. And you know, I don't think I can get into logistical details about the present of the company, but we are significantly bigger than that now. But we're actively avoiding getting so big that we become one of these like megalith hyper corporations that you know, move like a cruise ship and you know, and can do just basically one thing very slowly. That's just not the kind of thing that we're interested in doing. So we're trying to find ways to like to make our processes really efficient so that we can get by on fewer people without crunch. Like, the answer is not have fewer people and crunch those people to death. That's not the answer. But the kind of game that we make tends to punch above its weight class a little bit. Like, it, you know, so many of our systems are procedurally generated. Our content is procedurally generated, or at least flexible, that we don't have to make as much of it to create as much entertainment. And so that means that we can have fewer people building the game, and it still works. So Red Oath Cord is joking about this, you know, some new IP being confirmed for 2022. Obviously, even if I was harvesting ideas from you folks or harvesting impressions from you folks to actually build something, we wouldn't, even if we did, I like went back and convinced the whole company, yes, we should start working on some original IP right now, based on this conversation that we just had. It would not be coming out in 2022. And that's also not what's going to happen. So anyway, so it's so funny because most of the ideas that you folks just shared are directly aligned with ideas that I'd already been pursuing on the side, which is great. So basically what I got from this conversation was confirmation that I'm thinking about this right, that you folks are really interested in you know, community management simulators, you're interested in survival games, you're interested in the freedom of an open world, that those aspects of our post-apocalyptic zombie game are what you came to Undead Labs for, what makes our game special. And if you heard that Undead Labs was working on another game, those are the aspects of the game that you would expect to see. That's sort of a nice confirmation that sort of the way I've been thinking about our role in the industry and what we can make in the future is fairly well grounded in what a random smattering of our community members say. So that's cool. So Kimsa Bimsa asks an unrelated question. So I'm going to start getting back into the game while I answer this one. So Kimsa Bimsa asks, I've been wondering about the lore of State of Decay 1 and 2, many mysteries, etc. Any plans to clarify some in the future, or what can you say about the subject? So there are aspects of our lore. By the way, I should see, do I have 500 influence? I do. Okay, let's go claim this place. There are aspects of our lore that we intend to never share. For example, I should pick up some of these plague samples while I'm here. For example, what started the zombie plague? You know, whatever, you know, how did this thing... Oh, wait, I should... There's some more plague samples up here I should come grab. I hope we never, ever, ever reveal where the zombie plague came from. You know, how it works, how it is or was transmitted, and how it could potentially be cured. I don't want to answer any of those questions, because in our game, it's not about fixing the zombie apocalypse. Like, if we started revealing that stuff, it would start to imply that the goal of the game is to solve the problem. The goal of the game is like, oh, now we know how the zombie plague works. Let's cure it for good. And while we've got cure for the blood plague, we don't want people to cure zombies. Like, that just feels like, well, then the game's over. You know, this game is much less about the incident of the zombie apocalypse and, you know, how to resolve it. And it's much more about the experience.
Our little camp has an offer to make. You know where to find us, right?
It's much more about the experience of living here. And so if we made it look like your goal
The outpost is looking
was
good.
to eliminate the zombie plague, then it would sort of undercut what we feel like the game is really about. I just realized I should drop off some supplies while I'm here. So yeah, so we're never going to answer those questions. And if I have anything to do with it, which hopefully I will, we're never going to answer those questions. But that doesn't mean we're never going to answer, you know, any questions. We might very well have some thoughts in mind right now. Actually, I just realized because I'm in this outpost, I should also switch characters because my character is getting tired. Oh, but before I do that, let's drop off that revolver again because somebody else is going to need it. Okay, let's switch back to Richie, I think who's the original owner of the revolver. So he can pick it back up again. And yeah, he's still just relying on this crossbow. I wonder if we can do a little bit better than that. Maybe grab this civilian Uzi. Now, he doesn't have... Oh, he doesn't have a suppressor. Can I manufacture a suppressor right now? Oh, wait, it's not done here. It's done here? There we go. Yeah, I can make an improvised suppressor. I think that'll be worth it. Okay. So this guy's got a revolver and an Uzi. He's well equipped to head out here. Oh, wait. There's one other thing he doesn't have. Dang it. And I don't think I've got one of these, actually. I don't think I've got a heavy weapon out of anybody's inventory. So I think I can't do the heavy weapon thing. Let's double check to make sure. Do I have a heavy weapon? I've got 2 Halligan tools. Seems unnecessary. But no, I do not have a heavy weapon. Okay, so I'll have to let somebody else deal with that screamer one. But he might still be able to take out a feral if he meets a feral. Oh, but anyway, but we do have ideas about... There are some other aspects of our... Oh, dang it. Okay, watching me run in circles is, of course, everyone's favorite part of the game. I just realized I need some gas. So let's create a gas can. But yeah, we do have ideas for... Because there are other specific lore questions, like, you know... Questions about some of the... we have, like, we left a cliffhanger, for instance, in Heartland. And so, obviously, we should clean up some messes there. So there are definitely answers coming in the future to some of the questions we've left open. Just not yet. Oh! Rainfall is suggesting that I should climb up the watchtower and grab a weapon case. Oh, I did not even realize there was a weapon case up here. I do not know our maps very well.
That's gonna come in handy.
Some tequila, not too bad. Ooh, a mace. And it looks like I've leveled something up here. Oh, I just maxed out my discipline. Okay, cool. So I search faster, got more stamina. I gain stamina from melee kills, so I can last longer in combat. All of those are good. Right, I've got a bunch of gas already. What am I doing? No! I wanted to refuel. Get out. Get out. Refuel. So, OG Jawafawa says that he actually kind of likes the idea. Oh, wait, one more thing I should do. I'm just going to run in circles in this outpost. It's going to be great. I do have a heavy weapon. I've got a double bit axe. Cool. All right, then, okay, and I've already got gas in the car, so I'm going to run some of this stuff back, and we're going to do some more scavenging. But yeah, OG Joe Afawa says that he'd actually really like it if we did answer the question of where the zombie plague came from way too late to do anything about it. So, like, it might just be kind of fun to answer for people's curiosity, but do it under circumstances where it's really, really clear that knowing where it came from is not the answer, and will never solve it. I could see that. That actually, I find that appealing. So maybe someday we'll answer the questions. But here's the other problem with answering questions, and you can see that that the team that made the TV show Lost, for instance, I think is pretty aware of this problem. When people are imagining what they think the answer to your mystery is, they come up with their favorite ideas. Things that they like, oh, I hope it's something like this, or they get or even if they just sort of establish in their minds like a vibe for like what they think it's supposed to be like, they'll sort of get really invested in a version of it, and then when you reveal what you were doing the entire time, a lot of the time they won't like it. The audience will be like, no, I thought it was going to be something else. I was really into it being something else, and now that you've revealed what you think it is,
Looks good.
I don't find that compelling at all. I don't... Oh, crap. Oh, crap. Oh, is that multiples? Oh, it is multiples. Okay, hold on.
We needed that.
Okay, sorry. I know I was supposed to use a revolver for that, but, nope. Oh, come on. What the heck is up with this zombie? Go away. All right. Yeah, there's no way I was going to use my revolver with 2 bullets in it to try to fight 3 ferals. That was ridiculous. But yeah, so the other problem is, like, if we tried to reveal, you know, what we had in mind, more than half of our audience would find it uncompelling, no matter what it is. Like, you know, because
This might be a bad idea.
I think that, you know, the answers that would satisfy our audience, I think, like, if you sort of made a pie chart of which answers would satisfy with which audience members, it would be a lot of very tiny wedges. And there's no way for us to pick one to reveal that would make everyone happy, that would even make a majority of players happy. So keeping it a mystery means that each player gets to sort of imagine that it's vaguely the kind of thing that they expected it to be, that they wanted it to be, and it can stay that satisfying for them. You know, that mystery can be more satisfying for them than actually getting the answer that we had in mind. And there could be just, like, really subtle shades of difference that make, you know, that matter. Like, while we were ooh, there's a screamer. While we were developing the answers, because we do have answers to these questions. We've written up all of you know, the story of how this stuff happened. When we were discussing it, there were very fine details that we had massive disagreements over, where, like, somebody would suggest, oh, it should work like this, and I should be like, well, I think it should work mostly like that, but actually this one aspect of what you're saying is really terrible and ruins the entire idea for me. And it would be really tiny discrepancies. And so I'm like, man, trying to get an audience involved in liking an answer to a question like this, it's just going to be a nightmare. Nobody's going to be happy. Everyone's going to hate us. So, yeah. So that's probably the reason, ultimately, why we're not going to reveal where the zombie plague came from. Okay, so here's a question. Where is the last container in this building? Oh, there it is. Oh, there's a couple. One of them doesn't count. Oh, one of them I already opened. That's why. Guess we'll search this one, and hopefully I've got some room in my trunk.
This place is empty. Time to go.
And so many of these huge weapons. What is going on? I mean, I'm not going to complain. Let's drop off some of the heaviest stuff here. And actually, yeah, let's do that. That was actually really stupid, but whatever. Okay, I'm going to grab that. We have not been able to finish this place, but whatever. Before I go home, let's see if we can wrap up this kill screamers with heavy weapons bounty. So yeah, some folks in the chat are saying that they loved Lost, and yeah, I absolutely loved Lost too. And I'm one of the audience members who actually really liked the ending that they chose. Like, the questions that they left unanswered were not the questions that I was interested in. You know, I wasn't super into, like, you know, finding out why there were 4 toes on the statue. Like, who gives a crap? No, not that guy. That guy. There we go. Bounty complete. All right. So yeah, I actually really liked the ending. I thought it was answering exactly the questions that I wanted answered, which was mostly just about the fate of these characters and who they turned out to be. You know, that's what I was invested in. And so it worked great for me. I loved it. But I was not everyone. I might not have even been the majority. I'm not sure. But I'm glad to see a lot of people here in the chat who are fans of Lost and actually sort of liked it, because it feels a little vindicating to me. Okay, well, I guess we can drop some more of this stuff while we're still thinking of it. We'll drop some more stuff off of this outpost. And then we'll take this stuff home. Jawafawa, I had not actually seen any, like, So Jawa is saying that there was apparently some conversation with people who worked on The Walking Dead where they revealed that that the zombie plague came from space dust, which, I mean, it's as good an explanation as any. Zombie plagues in general are ridiculous and impossible to explain with convincing science.
This is gonna slow me down a bit.
But I can see why some folks would find that unsatisfying, just because it feels kind of Deus Ex Machina, only the bad kind of Deus Ex Machina, where bad things happen just because magic poof. But yeah, so like if you had an elaborate explanation where you actually sort of got into more detail about the space dust and how it works, something like that actually could be really interesting. Cloudcraft is pointing out that it's just treating it as a pat answer. It's like, it's space dust, and then just shrugging. That might be the thing that's unsatisfying. And yeah, I think that's a good point. Okay, let's head back to that warehouse. Now I should be ending this session sometime soon because we have been doing this for probably close to an hour. I haven't been keeping perfect track of this, but I know I left stuff behind at the warehouse we just... Was it this one? At the warehouse we just cleared. And I want to make sure that I grab it. All right. Well, now I can't go home until I scavenge even more stuff. So I guess we're going here next. And yes, I am driving from one building to the adjoining building because I'm an American. And that is what we do. We drive our cars freaking everywhere. So Scott asks,
Can't carry that much.
why do we have the building on the map, the icon on the map, go black before you've collected every item? So that's sort of a tough problem to solve. Whatever. Because sometimes you leave items on the map intending to come back for them. And sometimes you leave them because you don't give a crap about them. And unfortunately, we can't tell which one of those is true. We don't know if you left those energy drinks because you don't care about energy drinks, or if you left those energy drinks fondly hoping that you would return with more space in your inventory to pick them up. And so, in the first case, you probably want us to mark that place off on the map. Say, oh yeah, you've searched everything, and you decided to do what you wanted with every item. But then there's the scenario where, you don't want us to do that, and now we're doing something that is really... Oh, what am I doing? I didn't park in the parking space. That is really inconvenient for you. So maybe what we should do is kind of a hybrid. Maybe we should mark them off the way that we currently are, but maybe we should also show in the flyout... When I say flyout, I mean like the little window that appears on the upper left when you're highlighting these things. Maybe we should show you in the flyout that there's still some stuff you've left behind in that place. So that, if...
I can't carry that much.
Oh, I don't have any plague samples in my pants? Okay. So that you can kind of get both benefits. But being able to sort of check places off easily if you're really not interested in continuing there, but also having the information of where you've left stuff behind available to you if you want it. So Jawa Follow points out that even though, the information about the origins of the zombie plague are available, he's actually actively avoiding knowing about them, despite the fact that he works at Undead Labs. And because, who wants to know that stuff? It's just not important. So yeah, the tank and Cloudcraft are saying, yeah, we could, using the space in that flyout, we might even be able to list the items that you've left behind. I think depending on what else is going on, like for instance, some of these places they show claimed by Plagueheart. Like some of these flyouts can actually get really long. Like, check out this base here. Now, bases don't have containers in them, so that, that wouldn't be a direct conflict, but we actually did run into problems with early versions when we were working on Update 25. We ran into problems where we put so much information in these flyouts that they would actually cover up the map name and go off the bottom of the screen. And we had to start pulling ourselves back from that. And so if we were to list items that you left in containers, we would have to put a cap on that or something to keep it from making the flyout too large.
Kiddos, I'm back.
Good to see you, ain't that?
Oh, that conversation actually went pretty well. Cool. Okay, so this guy, I think, is actually in pretty good shape. No reason he couldn't be, the star of my next episode. So, yeah, so we're safe at home. So what did we accomplish today? We cleared out another plague heart. We claimed an artillery outpost, which I'm looking forward to using. No, not quite sure what I'm going to use it for yet, but we'll figure it out. Yeah, but we cleared out a plague heart, and now it looks like, the sommeliers.
Sorry to bother you, but we need some help.
They've got a new mission for me.
Set up and ready. Only problem is we don't have anything to put in it.
So
For me,
we've got
I'll
225
be there soon,
influence.
barring any delays.
I spent a bunch of influence claiming this outpost, but worth it. It's artillery. So I do still want to earn up to like 1,500 ideally influence in order to claim a new base, and that means more missions. I've got this elbow room mission from the builder, but what he wants is to move bases. And so what I've got to do is ignore that mission and go claim some other missions. So there we go.
I had faith in that plan, and it paid off.
All right. Oh, so Cloudcraft points out, by the way, that one thing we could do is sort of reduce, if we wanted to show items in that flyout, we could reduce the items to categories and just list the categories. And worst case scenario, if you've got too many categories, just say, you left some crap behind. But that, the more detailed and the more work you have the system do, the more complicated it gets to implement, and then the more, time it takes away from other things. So we would have to very carefully decide whether to do that. Anyway, this has been a good session. So thank you all for hanging out with me. If you would like to subscribe to my channel, I'm going to put a little icon right there. I'm also going to stick a bunch of other games over here. And this is going to be my next State of Decay session. So if you're a marathoner watching the whole thing, you can click there to keep going.